Need is not a claim. Need is not a blank check on the lives of the citizenry. The statists have appointed themselves claim collectors, and you, the producers, are their cash cow. To make their system work, the statists are wielding a powerful weapon, guilt. They are counting on you to feel guilty for the best thing within you, your desire to live, to achieve your values, to profit, to be happy. The statists are counting on your acquiescence to anyone's need as a valid claim on your lives and wealth, and they desperately hope that you will never discover that America's wealth and greatness were actually achieved by the independence of individuals who lived and worked for their own happiness without government handouts. The statists are counting on your acceptance of the role of sacrificial animals to justify their ultimate end, a country of dependence ruled by force. They have rejected America's greatest achievement, individualism, yet they have granted to themselves the right and the freedom to dispose of your lives and wealth as they so choose. They pretend that bank bailouts, industry takeovers, and socialized medicine are new ideas for America, while hoping that you won't discover that these were the policies of 20th century collectivist tyranny. By means of guilt, they seek to keep you enslaved, demeaned, dependent on society for your livelihood, dependent on society for permission to live. When and if the statists achieve their goal of replacing freedom with force, they will make outlaws of the only men that can save us, the men of independent thought and judgment. When and if men are forced into dependency on the government, any new thought will be helpless to alter our direction, and human action will become unaccountable. The textbook example of this is socialized medicine. In countries that have implemented it, the clearest example of how force stifles thought is there are far fewer medical advances than freer countries like the United States. Currently, the top 5 U.S. hospitals conduct more clinical trials than all the hospitals in any other single developed country. Furthermore, 8 out of 10 of the most important recent medical innovations were originated in America. When force replaces freedom under government-run healthcare, there is no room for curious young physicians and other professionals to challenge established views. New knowledge is not attractive, but typically considered a problem because it brings increased costs and disturbances in the government's slimmed-down healthcare. Under a single system of government-run healthcare, force negates accountability because the citizens have no recourse to other plans that could challenge the government monopoly to perform better. We have all heard about socialized medicine's long waiting list to see doctors, the lack of access to modern technology, the unsanitary conditions of hospitals and emergency rooms. But lack of accountability is not merely inconvenient to patients, it is deadly. This was vividly clear during the August 2003 heat wave in France, where 15,000 elderly citizens died because of a systemic shortage of doctors, which led to disaster when many doctors were on vacation and hospitals were stretched beyond capacity. The statists' ultimate goal is not improved health. If it was, why are they unmoved by the failure of socialized medicine around the world, by the suffering and destruction of actual human lives that socialized medicine leaves in its wake? The answer lies in morality. Specifically, in the moral ideal they wish to instill, the image of man as a ward of the state, bearing forced privations and suffering in passive obedience. Some have become so fed up with their serfdom that they have risked their lives and careers to practice medicine, namely in Canada. In a direct challenge to the Canadian government, a few independent doctors started their own private practices in the 1990s and billed their patients directly, in violation of Canadian law. These doctors won their battle against the Canadian government, and as a result of their heroism, other private sector health options are blossoming across Canada, and the government is increasingly turning a blind eye to them. Private clinics are now opening at a rate of about 1 a week. The injustice which moved those heroically defiant doctors is the same that brought you here today in the American colonists to Boston Harbor when the first tea ship arrived. The attempt by a statist government to deny man's rights. It is time to reclaim our inalienable individual rights. But to do it will require more than the American spirit of individualism that brought you here today. It will require a new moral philosophy to validate and sanction that spirit. Fortunately, this has been accomplished by a very great American. The 20th century was witness to the birth, life, and works of novelist and philosopher Ayn Rand, the author of Atlas Shrugged and Capitalism, the Unknown Ideal. In her writings, Ayn Rand provides the philosophic and moral resolve that we need to defend capitalism in the 21st century. The resolve that we need to affirm man's moral autonomy and his right to life. So I will close with her words, quote, "The world crisis of today is a moral crisis, and nothing less than a moral revolution can resolve it. A moral revolution to sanction and complete the political achievement of the American Revolution. You must fight for capitalism, not as a practical issue, not as an economic issue, but with the most righteous pride as a moral issue. That is what capitalism deserves, and nothing less will save it," unquote. Thank you.